この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Sora no Woto episode 12, which is, as I understand it, the finale of the main storyline. There is another episode after this, episode 13, which we will watch eventually. This is read next week. But as far as I can tell, it's an OVA, kind of like 7.5, except it's not a 0.5. It's weird. But I think this is the finale, and that's a darn good thing because everything is kind of coming to a head and everything is converging on this one location in Seize. So, what happened last time? Well, we met a couple of unexpected arrivals, one of whom was just unexpected, the other of whom was entirely unwanted. Aisha arrived. She is a Roman soldier who they found in a pretty rough state out in the woods, monument place, the place with the weird pillar things of stone that are shaped like, I don't know, upside down pyramids. Found her there, brought her in, and through some difficult decisions, let's say, decided to keep her. As long as we feed and water her and make sure that she goes outside to do her business, everything will be fine. No, we decided to keep her and, in fact, to harbor her, which unfortunately opens the door for our other unexpected and this one unwanted guest to barge through, search the place, and do all kinds of stuff, though he was gonna do that regardless. Sends a bunch of soldiers into their place and thing, and shoots some people. Somebody got shot. I assume it's not a deadly injury because it's a cliffhanger. That's just how you do these things. But somebody just got shot, and that's going to be a pivotal point in the next few minutes, probably. We'll see. But over the course of the episode, we found out a bunch of other things that weren't, like, so innately related to the main storyline. For example, Noelle. She's the Death Reaper, or created it, or rejuvenated it, or something. She made a gigantic chemical or biological weapon that killed lots of people, and she's pretty shook up about it. And it seems like this Hopkins fellow really, respects her as a useful tool. The Takemitsu is fixed up and seemingly ready to go. I assume that it will also play a pivotal role in whatever is to come, just because it kind of has to. It's like, it's Chekhov's fucking gigantic railgun tank, and it's been sitting in our show since the beginning, so, like, come on. Show us some stuff, with the Take. And we also found out that Aisha's grandma was a member of the Bastion. I don't know whether that's going to be important or whether it's just sort of a thing that's like everything is kind of interconnected and tied together the same way that, Rio and Elia and Kanata and Elia and everybody and Elia and all this stuff is all kind of connected. We'll see. We'll figure it out. And there's a gigantic army marching on us. Oh, shit. So, our quote-unquote defender is Hopkins, who seems like a fuckboy and seems like he's going to lead a lot of people into death, probably, and enjoy the hell out of it, because he's a fucking demon with purple eyes. And there's now a gigantic army coming. I don't know what we're gonna do about this, whether we can manage some kind of a hostage exchange, probably not. I think what our aim here is to prevent war. We don't know what Rio's been up to. Having her Gandalf it might make sense here. And by that, I mean, like, Battle of... My brain just imploded. Battle of... Is that Minas Tirith? Okay, it's Helm's Deep. I didn't think it was Helm's Deep, but it's Helm's Deep. Cool. Yeah, Rio's been off doing stuff, possibly talking to the writers of Rohan for a little while. She might show up midway through this and just be like, no. Or more likely, she'll come back with, like, she's convinced the Duke not to fight anymore or something. That would make a lot of sense to me. The other thing that I'm not sure how we're gonna mix up into everything is music. It feels like for this to work, we kind of have to have Kanata play to herald the arrival of Rio, or to call like a ceasefire, or to just play Amazing Grace and shut down all the soldiers and like make them just gasp in awe and stop shooting at each other, maybe? I don't really know, but there's gotta be a music element here somewhere in the finale, because it's pivotal to the show. Also, because the mythological legend that we got in episode 1 that tells us that the Fire Maidens saved everybody by playing their trumpets and like resonating sound between each other and allowing communication through that means. Because of that, we kind of need that to all come back around in the finale. Looking at this finale from what we've had before, and I could be totally wrong, and we could get something completely different from anything that I'm expecting, which is totally possible, and I would be very happy about it. But it feels like we're fairly pigeonholed into the kinds of things that can happen in this next 20-some minutes of anime. We'll see. There might be some stuff that could throw me for a loop, but what I'm looking for here is execution more than anything. I'm not really looking to be shocked by what happens in the finale. I just want this story to resolve really well, because I think the story started fairly strongly. I think it's meandered a lot, and I think it's sort of tripped over itself a lot. I don't think this is a great show, but it's good enough, and if the finale nails its key points, I think it could be a good show. That will determine where in the range of like 5 to 7 I rate this show. I'm not sure where it fits in there yet. We'll see. And I probably shouldn't talk about that beforehand because obviously we're going to watch the finale. And we've had the experience multiple times in previous episodes of Sora no Woto where later episodes somewhat recontextualize stuff that we learned in previous episodes. And it's possible that the way this finale ties everything together will absolutely blow my mind. But it doesn't seem super likely. So what I'm looking for is simple resolutions, preferably some open questions about like purpose and nature and stuff and things. I'm not really looking for an everybody lives happily ever after type of ending. Like this conflict isn't going to end on the drop of a hat, regardless of whose word it ends on. I just want to feel satisfied by the finale of Sora no Woto, and I think that if this is well executed, it can do that. So that's how I'm going to judge this in the end, or at least how I'm going to try to. We shall see. So there's an army marching in. There's already an army occupying, effectively. Somebody is shot, probably, or got winged, or got missed. Don't know. Maybe the owl got shot. That would really suck, but maybe the owl got shot. Who knows? That's about it. That's about it. We've got Aisha there. Hopkins is there. Army is coming. Shit's fucked. Let's see how this goes. Also, Noelle is kind of a quivering heap at the moment, which is a bit of a problem, since she's the one who knows everything about the tank, which we're probably going to need. We'll see. Okay, so that sets the scene pretty well. Let's watch the episode, and I guess listen to this OP for maybe the last time, depending on whether it's also on episode 13. We'll find out. Okay, so let's watch it. I've got episode 12 of Sora no Woto up and ready to go. It is sitting at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions of this reaction video. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description, and a timer-based version up on YouTube. If you would like to do a syncy thing and sync up your own copy of this episode with the timer-based version, you are welcome to do so. Just get your copy ready because the beep beep timer to count you down to 0 will be coming at you right now. Okay, not immediately starting with the OP. Yep. Oh, jeez. All right. All right, who got shot? Okay, it wasn't Noelle, unless she is in shock. Nope, Aisha got shot. How shot? How shot? How shot? Is it a gut wound? Oh, that's not good. Could be an in and out, though. Clean pierce without hitting the kidney, maybe. Oh, good. Oh, not good. Felicia, do something. Not what I was thinking, but holy shit. That is full-on insubordination. Get the fuck out of my building. Fuck yeah. Sweet. Good shit. Good job. Yeah, okay, it's an in and out. bullshit levels of lucky. Okay, Noelle is not okay. Oh, he really does want to send everybody to their deaths. Yeah, the fuck is up with you? Okay. Right. Okay. Oh, I see. So you're just war obsessed and you want the war to continue. Why would you want that? But why would you want that? Okay, you're... Okay. Felicia didn't know. Yeah, it's my baby. Okay. Yeah, you should have just actually shot him. You just proved to him that you won't. Mm. Naomi? Yeah. Yes, it is. They are. Mm. Right, the different story. Tell us that story. Yeah. Pretty simple. Really, motherfucker? Fuck. And he's in... I don't know if he can use the Calvados for anything. That was great. It's a serious question. Believe what you want. What do you see? What do you hear? That was Rio. That was Rio with the trumpet. That was Rio. Is that how we're using her perfect pitch? But that's not how that... Okay. Uh-oh. Ah! Should have fucking killed him. Should have fucking killed him. He's gonna ignore the order. If it gets through. Naomi, what are you doing? Oh, a little bit of nervous eating going, eh? Oh, Noel, oh, Noel, oh, Noel. Yeah, you know that laugh, right? Can we redemption arc Noel? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you were manipulated and used. There we go. Simplest possible redemption arc. Damn, she is not doing well. Okay, he's gonna ignore it. Oh, all the people. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Okay. Yeah. Then why hasn't your civilization driven forward? It's been hamstrung by obliteration and war, you fucking idiot. How do you know that? So we need a bolt from the blue, eh? Maybe a girl with blue hair? That could do it. It's basically the only thing that could do it. Mmm. That works. It has. But, there we go. Worth saving. Oh, one word from the dying. Of course. On. And the translation. Ah. They fucking nailed that moment. I am so far quite pleased. Hello, tanky boy. How are you today? Fucking sick. Oh, hi, Aisha. Let's do it. Let's do it. Wait. Spider tank. Spider tank. Blowing up walls like a spider tank. Oh, never mind. Let's go. Yeah. Huh. Breaking through out of the bastion into the light. Alright. Ah, and a full insert song. Yeah. Ancient terror, eh? Hello. Hello, I am Murder on Six Legs. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Don't try to shoot that. Oh, buddy. That's not gonna work. Oh, shit! The fucking townspeople. And they're gonna mow you down, dudes. He's gonna mow you down. Massacre. He knows he wants to. Please don't give me a the devil sees the light arc here. Okay, there we go. He'll go around. Good. Yeah, good. He won't learn. Good. Oh, we're bookending with the tail. Sent to punish. The real story, or more of it. And it's Aisha. So they're writing their own story, their own myth. Gotcha. So the demon is an angel instead. So the angel was not the source of the flame. The flame was war. Blow that fucker to oblivion, please. Oh, just a leg? Can we stay on the move? Okay, I gotta pay attention to the lyrics, the dialogue. And they departed. Okay. Damn. Whoa. Yeah. That is a good fucking bring it back around right there. Commencing attack. There's nothing to attack, is there? Hi, Take. Oh shit. Uh, it's got a lot of puck marks all over it. It's from the Bastion, baby, and they're delivering Aisha to you. Oh yeah, get a place to speak and get your words or sounds to ring out. Ah, there we go. That's what we're looking for. Ceasefire. Rio. 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 Incoming. Oh, get the fuck down here. Aww. Amazing Grace. Is this literally going to be a Christmas in the Trenches sequence? All right, charge! Let's go! Kill them all! Oh, hey, they see her. Oh, yeah, there we go. Rio! Oh, shit. What the fuck? How did nobody notice that thing coming? Whoa. Married. Sick. Waiting for Hopkins. Yay! Great success. Hey. Oh, hi, buddy. I thought that was her blowing the ceasefire signal earlier. Hmm. Is that Fiend? No. Okay, good. Epilogue. No? Maybe. Whatever, we'll just watch to the end. Some rebuilding. What's changed? Aisha stays. Oh, no, she sent a letter. Okay. Hey, cool. Hey, Noelle learned the language. Completely. So that she can communicate with Aisha. Fully shipped! Of course Rio's busy. Yeah. Haven't gotten a chance to talk. Yeah, it sucks. Did she show up? Is she here? Is that our fucking Empress? Hey, hello, Empress Rio. In your uniform. Your duties are finished. Hey, alright. Of course. No, we don't. Hey, cool. Hey, so it's not like the worst thing in the world. You could do whatever the hell you want. So you wish that you didn't have to marry him and could go back here. Nice. Wait, what? Who is this? Is this the Emperor? Oh no, it's Noelle. Okay. I was like, wait, what? What was that? Aww. Alright. That's Fiend. No ED. Okay. I'm gonna spend some time putting my thoughts together. So that I don't just, like, meander. I will anyway, but let me spend some time. Because I'm not just thinking about this episode, but about the show as a whole. I'll say, before I get too deep into my own head, I'll say that I think this finale was about as good as it could have been. Quite enjoyable, and I think quite well put together. For what it is. But I feel like every time I say something positive about this show, I have to put a caveat on it, which is unfortunate. Okay. I think there are 3 moments / scenes that are pretty much absolutely nailed. That are about as good as they could possibly be and elevate this episode beyond what I thought it could even be. Those are 1, the scene between Aisha and Noelle. Her verge into the Nihongo for just one broken phrase. Right here. And then the look of, honestly, like, horror in Noelle's face as she says this. Like, forgiving me is not possible. I've done too many horrible things. I can't be forgiven. I think this whole scene is pretty fucking nailed, and we pull out to here, and the whole, like, immediate interpretation and speaking it in the Germanic and in the Japanese is really well done. Noelle's kind of crawl up to her, almost hesitant, like, she's accepting the possibility that maybe this could be happening, but still is hesitating to be forgiven. Whoa, it's a good goddamn scene. I mean, it's a really good goddamn scene. I mean, it's a fantastic goddamn scene. Okay, scene number 2, the insert song. Just sort of hold for a bit. Get everybody stressed the fuck out. Everybody is terrified. Everybody is carrying their own baggage with them. And as soon as we fire, the music starts. And out comes the take. Fuck yeah. In a general sense, the take is pretty fucking cool. I mean, it's a CG spider tank that moves around really fast and shoots things. It's pretty fucking cool. I can't deny its coolness. It's just sort of innately awesome. So those are 2 of the 3 scenes that I think were nailed. The third of the 3 scenes that I think was nailed, I mean, the whole reiteration of the Fire Maiden legend in a different way is awesome, but not nailed in the same way that I'm talking. I'm talking about, like, all aspects of production come together to make these particular sequences really solid, and I think they do. The last one is, of course, when Kanata gets up on the thing and makes her decision, which is to stay up there in the, obviously fire is incoming, the war is about to start, and it's this. The vision of this scene is clear. I would not be surprised if the creative thinkers behind this show had a vision for this scene before anything else, because everything sort of arrives here at this point. It's gorgeously done. The idea of this grand landscape, the high position, watching these 2 armies heading toward each other, about to collide and cause unending bloodshed, to reignite all the bloodshed and war, exactly as the Demon of Vinct wants. It's just really good. And, of course, it's a pivotal point to play Amazing Grace. Going full Christmas in the Trenches, Christmas Trucy on this is a little wonk. I mean, it's fair enough. I'm fully willing to suspend my disbelief on this, in part because we are aware as an audience that the soldiers have no interest in fighting, that it's a few, let's say a few rotten eggs near the top of the command structure want this to occur, and the actual men on the ground are dreading this. They do not want this, and so they're looking for an excuse to stop. So because of that element, specifically because we see soldiers and have them speak to each other. Like, there are soldiers with speaking lines. The fact that they're the same soldiers that gave Kanata the candies is a fun way to bookend things and bring things all around. I think it could have been a lot stronger if we ever touched on them at all, ever, at any other point in the series. It kind of feels like they're brought in as a narrative convenience, as does Hopkins, which is pretty unfortunate. Like, he's the only real villain of the story. All of our conflicts are interpersonal and personal up until this point. He's the only real villain. He kind of just shows up out of nowhere and is like, hey, I'm here. Also, by the way, I'm interrelated with Noelle's backstory. You have a reason to hate me. It's a little bit Deus Ex-y, let's say. It's not even, that's not what it is, but it feels like a narrative convenience to have a war-obsessed fascist asshole, which is exactly what he is, and it works for our circumstance. Like, why would anyone want to reignite a war? Well, for the same same reason people want to go to war in modern times, in the real world. Either they're obsessed with it, or they can get something out of it. Whether that's political, military, position gain, whatever, or they're just broken. In this case, we get the depiction that this colonel is just broken. I feel like we could have had a lot more there. I feel like there could have been a lot of seeds planted about the colonel if we had focused a little bit more on Noelle's backstory, but they wanted to do the reveal of Noelle's backstory concurrently with the arrival of Aisha and the conflict that represents and produces, so it makes sense that we didn't do that beforehand. They want it to be like a thing like, oh shit, she's the one who created the Death Reaper. We know a character whose parents that killed. Fuck. That's some heavy stuff. And it is. It's genuinely heavy stuff. And we see that in the sequence where the colonel is like maliciously telling everyone what Noelle was to him, who she was and what she has done. I like the framing of this whole thing. He's dominating the camera and the frame, pushing her into the background, even as he's like out of focus. He's still dominating the frame. It's pretty interesting. I think it's pretty well done, and the absolute horror on her face. It's kind of unclear whether it's the bringing back these facts about her past, or the way that he's saying them, or the fact that this is being revealed to her friends and compatriots. It's kind of unclear which of those is what's fucking with him. I just don't know. Felicia whipping out the gun is dank. And more importantly, the first time she whips out the gun is the bomb diggity. I have to say, this was decisive Felicia in action is a wonderful thing to behold, and I am a big fan. So that's pretty fantastic. Okay, so there are those 3 sections that I think are elevated above the rest of the episode and most of the rest of the show as a whole. Then there are some things that I have qualms with, like the weakness of the kernels of Hopkins' story, and the contrivance of the whole sort of rushed feeling ending. Everything sort of fits into its steps. I'm having trouble putting this into words why it feels like it's all kind of rushed and forcedy. I think it's just because of the piling on of narrative conveniences. Like, Ryo arrives right then at the pivotal moment. Kanata's gambit works. Nobody shoots down the Take, if they even could. Maybe they couldn't. There are a lot of things that happen, like bing, 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 that are a little too convenient for the story. But that's okay, because they're pretty good things, so I'm in this weird state where I'm kind of like, I like all the things that happen, but they feel a little off, but they were pretty good. So it was pretty good. As a whole, I think it was pretty good. There's some other little things that aren't exactly flubs, but they're just not quite up to what I would call par for the specific scenes. This one stands out in particular. I don't know why we choose this angle for Kureha, and I don't know why we hold the scene. It's honestly uncomfortable for me. I don't love this sequence, which is weird. I feel like this is pretty weak facial animation in a sequence that's supposed to be really strong. I understand what she's feeling, but it's not being conveyed to me by her expressions. Her expression is just sad and freaking out. I don't like this scene very much. As soon as we cut away from her face, I like this scene a lot. Like, everything that happens after we cut away from the extended sequence of Kureha crying, I really like. The hug from Felicia, the way that we can hear that bit of cry coming in and then accelerating into the end of Felicia's statement. Everybody coming in for the group handhold situation. All of this is really good. Why is the one sequence that's extended with the face, why doesn't that work for me? I don't really know. I feel like it's just like a combination of the way the characters are designed, the way the characters do their character acting, and the way the animation is done, and just holding that one angle for that entire period. What's so weird is, like, do I want to bring another show into this? I shouldn't compare this to other shows, but this isn't a comparison to another show exactly. It's a specific scene-to-scene comparison. So it's a little bit different. I'm going to do it. I'm going to open up last week's episode of Tamako Market. And just because I know I have it and I know what I'm looking for in it. So give me a sec. Okay, this particular example doesn't work as well as I maybe hoped, or as other examples could. Editing me will put a couple of GIFs of like some Hibike scenes and some other things, because I don't have them, and I'll find them later here for some gorgeous crying sequences. Specifically, I think of like the Kyoani cry, which is sort of this, though this is kind of a happy cry. And this is honestly simpler in terms of character design than just in terms of detail because we're not up as close. And yet it makes me feel something more than the sequence with Kureha does. It's not exactly like a direct comparison or anything. I'm just saying something is up about that sequence of crying that doesn't work for me. Maybe that's something wrong with me and less something wrong with the show. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just jaded. Probably. Okay. Other little things. Kanata's perfect pitch doesn't actually play a role. It kinda does, but in a sort of jury-rigged kind of way. She hears something real good from a far distance. It's not quite the same thing. Her ability to determine the actual pitch of a note, not useful. Just not useful. Okay. Cool. The conversation about shooting a gun at someone is pretty interesting. And our great predecessors, the Fire Maidens. Okay, this is something else that I love as a narrative thing, and as something that I much prefer this. It's not really an Aesop, but this lesson or moral to the one we got when Rio left. This one works for me really well, and it has to do with the nature of legends, belief, faith, hope, all of those things, right? What's the value of a legend unless it determines in some way how you lead your own life, right? It's just a story from the past. A legend helps you figure out who you are or what you are. That's what myths and stories do. That's what anime does, even. It's a media, it's a form of passing down information and stories about people, stories that we can relate to and learn from. That's the importance of it. So which one do you choose when there are lots of contradictory stories? When everybody has a different perspective, when people see things differently, when there isn't a clear-cut right answer, when one story tells of a group of Bastion maidens holding down a demon and sacrificing themselves to save the world from a horrible threat, and the other tells a tale of the Bastion maidens harboring and saving an angel from a demon that's incoming, trying to destroy that angel. Which one sits right with you? To tear down something that is destructive or to protect something that is positive? Well, if they're both right, you choose the one that sits right with you. That's what our truth is. Truth is relative, and something can be very, very true to someone and not that true to somebody else. I think that, Hopkins probably wouldn't agree with the story of the maidens. He wouldn't be interested in it. He's a fuckboy. That's who he is. But it's right for Kanata, and so she determines what she's going to do based on that, and that leads into the choices that she makes over the course of the episode. Choices which eventually lead to the end to a needless conflict, which is fantastic. They do exactly as the Bastion Maidens do in the second telling of the story, which is, of course, their story, which is demonstrated to us by the fact that it's Aisha with the wings, right? Or someone who looks quite a bit like her. It's pretty cool, and it's a way of binding their nations together through legend and myth and understanding, right? If the ladies of the Bastion accept the Roman telling, then they all understand each other, and it works. I think that's really solid. And then, of course, there's this. It's a shitty argument, and it's meant to be a shitty argument. It's a patsy argument, basically, being given by Hopkins. We're meant to disagree with basically everything that he says. But it is an argument that's made relatively frequently, so why don't we address it? War drives forward civilization and science. This is undeniably true, to an extent. It's entirely unlikely that we would have reached the moon nearly as soon as we did if it were not for Cold War engineering. It's lots of things come from war. Modern aviation is a result of military investment into aviation technology. Like, a lot of modern technology is based around war and comes from it, and peacetime technologies can come from it. However, there comes a point when war destroys more than it creates, when the people are being destroyed by the droves, when there aren't enough people to work the farms and such, when there aren't enough people to do the science and to build things and to repair the sewers and to clean the streets and to keep everything running and let alone actually improve things. At a certain point, there's not enough manpower, there aren't enough resources, and too much has been destroyed. War is a destructive force, and it is a fire. It blazes and it engulfs everything. So, he's right, and that's why this argument is a little bit unsettling. He's right to a point. Does the fact that war can drive forward civilization and science justify the fact that war will inevitably hamstring civilization and science by killing useful people and destroying resources and turning the attention of important and useful and intelligent people toward war itself as opposed to other ventures? No, no, it doesn't justify it. It can't. It can't. So it's a fraud argument, and it's meant to be, and that's fine. Hopkins is a fuckboy, and we're meant to hate him, so I think the show does a pretty good job of that. Pretty cool. This scene with Aisha is so good. It's so goddamn good. This one, not as good. And then the tank sequence is fucking fantastic. Genuinely pretty awesome, and pretty cool. I really love that the townspeople are getting in the way. I really thought Mr. Demon of Vankt was straight up going to order his soldiers to fire into the crowd. And then we would go from there and probably have some soldiers go like, fuck no. But we don't. I feel like that would have been a more dog-kicky way to make it clear that Hopkins is a fuckboy. But, I mean, we already get the picture of him at this point. His title is Demon of Vinct. They're like, yeah, alright, sure. Borrowing a giant spider, they sheltered him at the bottom of the valley. Hell yeah, they did. I like the way the Take moves. It's pretty neat. And bringing everything together with the opening lines and the opening story and all that jazz is pretty nice. Pretty nice. So they were just trying to save the angel from the demon. Hopkins. Yeah. 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 So, having these soldiers around, again, I like that they're around. It bookends things nicely and brings everything back around. People who helped her get helped by her, and that's really nice. I do wish we had seen anything of them beforehand, but we kind of couldn't. I don't know. Charge! Yeah, so we play the ceasefire signal, and everybody fucking ignores that shit. No chance. No hope. But then we play Amazing Grace, and everybody stops and just listens to the glorious musica. And again, this whole sequence is fucking fantastic. The sun coming up at the same time, it all converges really nicely and makes this a really nice sequence. Really nice pivotal climactic moment. Rio arriving and saving the day was pretty predictable. It's still fun. I don't have that much of a gripe with it. So I think overall we came up with a lot more things that I like about this episode than there are things that I don't like. Then again, one of the things that I don't like is just like a general sense of things feel kind of forced, which is maybe something that would like taint my impression of some of the other sequences, but I think I can keep those separated in my brain space. I think that the individual sequences that I pointed out first that are really stellar are good enough. Good enough for me, man. Good enough for me. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I've got one other timestamp that I wrote down, and I don't know why. Oh, I wrote down 440 Jumpy, and I wasn't sure what that was, but it's just the moment when Kureha jumps. And I just thought that this was a really, really relatable little moment. Just the general air of stress and tension being kind of resolved by that moment of slight humor is solid. That's good times. Okay, I think that's basically my take on this episode. It was pretty good. I think it does everything that it needed to and executes pretty well on its like required portions, and does some things that are a little better than expected. The sequence with Aisho where where we offer forgiveness to Noelle is fantastic. It's exactly what she needed as a character. I do wish we had gone a little deeper into Noelle's backstory. I would have liked to do that. Her being around and just being a little bit reticent, a little bit standoffish, leads us to understand that there's something darker in her past, but I feel like we could have revealed little bits and pieces of it a little bit earlier and maybe gotten more out of it. Or maybe we did and I just missed them. Totally possible. Overall thoughts on the show as a whole. I said at the beginning that I would probably be, based on this episode, determining where I would throw this show in the 5 to 7 range, with 7 being about the absolute highest that it would go. And I still think that that's apt. The general production of this show is shockingly weak. The character animation is generally mediocre. And even in the sequences where the characters get quite animated, it's pretty fucking mediocre. That said, that's not the focus of the production, even if it should be. A lot of the focus of the production is on the backgrounds and making the world feel real, and I think on that front it nails it. But I don't know if it nails it well enough to offset the general mehness of pretty much everything else. As far as story and ideation, there's a lot of forced stuff here. There's a lot of contrivance and narrative convenience, and a lot of kind of, like, weak mini-stories, I would say. Each episode is pretty engaging and pretty fun. The characters are likable and written well enough that each of them has some complexity and depth to them, and we feel like we get to know them. This is a really weird mishmash of a show because there are lots of things that I like inextricably tangled up in things that I don't necessarily care for. Like, all of the characters are great, but then the expression of that greatness is always fraught by the character animation, which isn't terribly expressive. It's weird. And then there's stuff like the world building is interesting, but as soon as you peek behind the curtain, there's really nothing there. There aren't answers in it, just kind of vague questions. The questions about, like, what is this world compared to ours are things that just cannot be answered. They're just not given to us. All we get are myths and legends. It's not necessarily a gripe, but it's kind of a gripe. I don't know. This show makes me feel weird. It makes me feel weird because I feel like I should hate it. More often I end up in the situation where I watch a show and I feel like I should like it, but I don't like it. I feel like I should hate this show, but I actually kind of like it. It's weird. This is a weird show. Production-wise, it's really weird. I guess that's an A1 thing. I guess I have to watch more A1 Pictures shows? I don't really want to. Because it's the story and characters that carried this for me in spite of a lot of the production stuff. I think overall, I'm going to give this show a 6, which isn't low. It's higher than the 5 that I was thinking I would give it before this episode. I think this episode nails some things well enough to give it an extra point bump. It didn't transcend, which is what I would have needed to give this show as a whole a 7. So I think a 6 is where we sit. And I think that overall what this show does is reaffirm my weakly held opinion that A1 Pictures is a really mediocre studio, and that even with a really creative idea and a pretty well-written set of episodes, the general production of the show and the little flubs that we found in multiple episodes and the general vibe of it actually detracts from what could have been a better show in different hands. I'm pleased with Sora no Woto, but I'm also mildly disappointed with it. There's a lot of additional promise in the first couple of episodes that doesn't really come to bear, and a lot more that I think could have been explored if we wanted to. It's not necessarily that it had to be that way, and I'm not trying to be harsh on the show. Again, I feel like I should hate it, but I really quite like it, which is really weird to me. Again, it's not that the whole thing as a whole is good or the whole thing as a whole is bad. It's that there are so many pieces that I like and dislike inextricably tied to one another. It's really interesting. It's a really interesting experience coming out of this show and thinking back on it. I don't know if you can get anything from that as like a take overall on the show, but some people like to hear what I think of something at the end, and so that's what I'm doing. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. I like it well enough. Let's go with that. I like it well enough. It gets a 6, maybe a 6.5 or so in my book. This episode was really solid in a lot of ways. Nailing character moments. Nailing story moments, not as much, but nailing character moments was pretty fucking solid. Okay. Last thing before we wrap, I'm going to just quickly check ANN. I'm pretty sure that the individual who directed the whole thing also directed this episode, and did episode 1 as well. So I'm pretty sure that there's some, like, connection there. Let's just check really quickly. Yeah, okay. It's Mamoru Kanbei on episode 1 and then episodes 12 and 13. Cool. Or episodes 1 and 2, I should say, and then episodes 12 and 13. So that is what I expected, and I think I can feel that in just it being pretty well put together, although rushed. It feels like every time I compliment the show, I have to have a caveat. And every time I insult the show, I have to have a caveat. It's weird. It's all linked. It's so strange. Okay. I think as a resolution to this narrative, to what we set in motion, war incoming, Bastion maidens who do a thing, figuring out our place in the world, finding a way to use our sounds, our songs, to resolve a conflict. I think all of that is pretty well nailed. And so I give this show a relatively upward thumb. Pretty okay. Pretty okay. Cool. Well, there is one more episode. It's episode 13 for an OVA, and that is what we'll watch next week. In the meantime, I'm going to be thinking about what to do for a poll, and what to put on it for next time, or for the next show in this slot. We'll see. But for now, I'm going to wrap. I'm Teeaboo. This has been the main run of Sora no Woto. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I actually hope you've enjoyed it more than I have, because I have my qualms and gripes with the show, and not everybody sees things the same way that I do. If there's anything that this show definitely has in spades, it is lessons about perspective and, different understandings of particular things like legends and stories and stuff. So it is totally fine if you see things differently. In fact, it is welcome. And if you have reasons for it, you can throw those in the comments. I will read them. And I think we're going to wrap. So this has been fun. It hasn't been the greatest show that I've watched, but it's also been entirely enjoyable every week. So thanks for having me watch it. It's been enjoyable. I'll see you next week for episode 13 and the week after for some new show that I don't know what it's going to be. Cool. See you there. Peace.